believe you'll love the coverage. Hey, this is Pound for Pound Sports. Welcome, everybody. Saturday, 9 in the morning. Everybody must be going to the gym or you're hungover right now. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Glad
Good
to
see
be
you back,
baby,
buddy.
In the seat where I belong.
Most
the
definitely.
B team filled in for me last week, did a phenomenal job. But
I'm Nick Eustace, by the way.
And I'm Darren Anderson.
I want to throw out our buddies, Empire Bail, man. New sponsor. I couldn't think of a better sponsor for our demographic, quite honestly. I just want to throw it out there. If you're in San Diego or L.A., give Empire Bail Bonds a call. You can visit them on empirebailca.com, or you can give them a visit on El Cajon Boulevard, 7745. El Cajon Boulevard, Suite 1. Give them a call, 619-249-3825. And I also want to throw out our lines are open. We have a different number we're working with this week. It's through our ISDN, 619-387-3452 if you want to give us a call. Is something funny?
Yeah.
Through our ISDN?
The ISDN, I mean, like 95% of the people in the world out there know what that is.
He's on the shelf for 2 weeks. All of a sudden he comes back with jokes.
My popsicle jokes, baby.
Hey, man. What'd you think of the fights last week?
I thought UFC.
Were you happy? I haven't talked to you since then. I
thought it was great, man. You know what? I'll tell you what. If somebody would have put a pill on Vitor Belfort on that plus 700, plus 800, and to see him lock in that armbar, I mean, man, they had to be going crazy.
That was
they
close.
had to be going crazy.
That was close.
He popped his arm.
Yeah, and they were dry too. As soon as I saw they were dry and he was rolling for that, I thought for sure. And especially John Jones' length too. I mean, it's just that much easier to. The guy's got the longest arms in light heavyweight division.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, we'll get into it a little bit later, but John Jones, man, hey, I'll tell you what, haven't always been the biggest fan of his, but you cannot deny the skill that guy has. There's no denying it.
Yeah, I know.
He absolutely took Vitor Belfort out of his game, and he got Vitor Belfort pulling guard when he was getting absolutely owned on the bottom. I mean, that's when he was taking the most damage, but he was getting smashed so bad on his feet that he kept on pulling guard.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, just the whole pulling guard I don't know. I don't want to say it threw me off, but it was just a little unexpected. But I think you're probably right.
Well,
I mean,
it's just because he was taking such a beating on his feet. That side little kick, that little kick that John Jones did. It's borderline dirty, by the way, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like borderline foot stomp there. But
for sure.
But if they're gonna let you do it, man, hey, props to John Jones. You know, he had a lot of negative energy going into that fight.
Oh, for sure. Did you see all the boos he got at the weigh-in?
But you know what? These people, man.
One single incident, all of a sudden everybody jumps off that bandwagon like a hurry.
And you know how I roll. You know, I like to go with a guy that everybody hates.
Go against the grain.
So then all those booing and all that stuff, it just kind of made me want to pull for him more. Even though I'm a bigger Vitor Belfort, those people streaming on PFPsports.com right now could see I'm wearing my Vitor Belfort shirt. I'm a big Vitor Belfort fan, but it was just, John Jones, man, he's legit.
Well, props to Vitor. I mean, he looks a lot more natural at 185. I mean, so props to him for even stepping up to 205 and fighting a guy, John Jones' caliber.
For sure.
I mean, he'd been saying for weeks that he's old school. He takes fights. I mean, I think he demonstrated that pretty well.
For sure. Yeah, no, it was overall I thought it was great. The prelims, Evan Dunham, TJ Grant.
Great card.
Man, what a fight that was.
Yeah.
Evan Dunham, man, that guy, he doesn't the stereotypical, if I could even say that. He doesn't look like the stereotypical kind of fighter, but that guy's they're just throwing bombs and he's got a smile on his face the entire time.
That's
I'm
incredible.
Thinking, man, these guys are crazy.
Incredible. Well, what do you make of that market though? I mean, then the reason I ask is because I don't think anybody could deny, there's a whole arena full of boos during the Benavidez Johnson fight. Flyweight titles up for grabs. For me, I want to know. Obviously, everybody had to know that's going 5 rounds, right? Win, lose, or draw, boring fight, great fight. It's going 5. I mean that. If there was a prop bet for going over under 4.5, I would have bet the over hands down.
I'm going to be honest with you. Those are the 2 best finishers in that division, though. So I wouldn't have been surprised to see it an early knockout. The problem is those guys are so quick. I mean, it's hard to catch a guy that fast.
Yeah, it's hard to catch a guy that fast.
How fast Demetrius Johnson was getting out of the way. I mean,
yeah, no, I mean it's just a brilliant display of just speed and elusiveness.
And as far as that market, I'm probably gonna go off topic here, but
go for it.
Dana White at the post-fight press conference, they're booing my co-main event. Don't ever buy my UFCs again. I'm like, Come on, dude, quit being such a capital P, dude. Are you serious right now?
Well, what's
those
funny
people booing probably dropped 500-600 pills on on 2 tickets, you know, I mean, assuming they're from there and then don't have to do any travel or hotel or any of that stuff. If they want to stand up, I'll go on the court and drain a 3 if I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they want to boo, they could boo. I hate it, but I hate a lot of MMA fans. I'm going to tell you what, that's why I can't go into the big bars, the big crowds, and watch these things. Because, I mean, you could have a fight go to the ground 2 minutes in and people start booing.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You could have a phenomenal transitions and ground game and jiu-jitsu match, and people just start booing because, let's face
they're
it,
uneducated.
Well,
they don't. I mean, if you were an educated fan, you've been following it for any time, you'd appreciate those.
You know, I agree, but uneducated kind of sounds harsh. I mean, I would say the majority of fans that buy these fights aren't like you and I. You know, they're not guys that are hardcore fans. You know, there's the hardcore fan out there which think they're just bigger and better and more badass than everybody.
Right.
But I always say the average fan's just a couple of guys getting out there, you know, trying to down a pizza and a couple beers with their buddies. You know, they're just looking for more like exciting fights. So I don't, you know.
Well, it's funny because
those are the people that make the record numbers in the UFCs, because the hardcore guys are going to watch the Ultimate Fighters, are going to watch the UFCs regardless. Right.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I just think it's kind of funny that really just goes to show that the UFC has more fans than they know what to do with. When you could tell people, don't buy my stuff.
Dude, I swear to you, man, I love Dana White, and I love the fact that he's got no filter on him, but man, cry me a river. They didn't like my co-main event. I'm like, are you serious? You're going to sit there and you're going to, I mean, these people are the reason you're flying around in jets. If they want to boo, they have the right to boo. I personally hate it. I cannot stand it. Let me be perfectly clear. Even if the fight sucks, I hate the fact that they're booing. People don't realize how much hard work and training goes into these guys.
Sure.
So even if the fight is boo-worthy, I promise you, depending on who is or isn't inside that cage, 9 times out of 10, you'll never hear me boo.
Yeah, I never boo a fight. I mean, I might go get a drink while they're still fighting.
Yeah.
But that's about as far as it goes for me, you know?
No question. That's nacho time, as I like to call it. It's perfect time to go make your nachos.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of that card, man, I want to know, just from your opinion, or from where you're sitting, where do you think Michael Bisping goes from here?
You know what? Real quick, before the record, I thought that was an amazing fight.
Absolutely.
By the way, I thought that Demetrius Johnson flyweight title, I thought it was great.
I knew it was going 5.
For the record, I had my, it didn't surprise me that it went 5, but I thought it was a fantastic fight.
Absolutely. What's next for Bisping?
You know what? What makes the most sense for Bisping to me is the winner of Chris Weidman, Tim Bost.
I agree.
But, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. What would you say about a little cross-promoting with champion Luke Rockhold? I think that would be a great matchup.
You know what? I think that would be a great matchup, but then you're going to hear, not that everything at the end of the day is up to Michael Bisping, but you're going to hear him say, he's not in my league. He just came here. I've been here 8 years, blah, blah, blah,
I'm going to tell you.
But you look at a guy like Bisping, in my opinion, I think he needs to fight another top 10. I mean, whether you argue Luke Rockhold is a top 10 185er at this point, probably is. So, I mean, it would make sense. But, the fact of the matter is, I think you need more than just one win to justify a title shot. I mean, Michael Bisping's still talking title, and here we are. You know what? He lost to Chael Sonnen in February.
He did. It was controversial.
It was controversial.
One thing I learned from that fight, he's not ready for a title shot.
No, he's not ready for a title shot.
He's got some work to do on he leaves himself open for counter strikes. I don't know if you noticed that. Every time he throws a punch, it's like he's just leaving his head right there. And last I checked, Anderson Silva's decent striker? Decent striker.
I guess he's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Just compare the two. Michael Bisping, Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman's 9-0, 5-0 in the UFC. He's putting people away. Michael Bisping's fighting competitive fights. He's fighting good fights. I mean, they're all top 10 fighters. They're all, right up there, in line with the title shot themselves. But for my money, I think you got to put somebody away to justify being in Anderson Silva's league right about this point in time.
I agree. So are you in agreement that maybe he deserves like a number one contender? We don't ever have those anymore, but a number one contender match with Chris Weidman?
Yeah, I would like to see him fight either Chris Weidman or maybe Mark Munoz when he comes back. I don't know.
I was thinking about that, but the thing with Mark Munoz, I mean, he could. I mean, Mark Munoz is coming off a loss, so where that doesn't really benefit. There's not a lot of upside in that fight for Michael Bisping.
No.
I would love to see that fight, but there's just not a lot of upside for Michael Bisping, and
only because of what happened to Mark Munoz last time out. But it was a controversial loss to Sonnen. But the fact of the matter is, it's a loss on your record, and tenure doesn't do anything for you right now at this point in time, especially in that division. 185 is stacked.
You could talk about how long you've been in the UFC, or regardless. I mean, bottom line is, I'm starting to love Michael Bisping, but he hasn't earned a title shot.
Tenure does not justify a title shot.
No.
I'm sorry.
I mean, Matt Hughes has been in the UFC forever. We ready to give him another shot?
Right.
I mean, no.
I mean, it's a little ridiculous at this point. Real quick, we're probably going to have to go to break here pretty soon, but I want to ask you just your initial thoughts of Pacquiao, Marquez 4, and of course now that they've booked that fight, you got Pacquiao saying, "Oh, I want Mayweather next." Well, is this anything other than a cash grab right now today?
Dude, it makes me sick. And
have you seen the prices of tickets, man?
It's like, who cares, man? You know what? The one thing that's the last couple of weeks I started to learn as I'm starting to watch a lot more and more boxing is with guys like Adrian Broner, kind of the replacement of Floyd Mayweather, in my opinion.
Right.
Chavez Jr., Canelo, Martinez.
Right.
Boxing doesn't need those two guys anymore, so I say who cares about them? I'm starting to realize we're going to see that fight, but it's going to be about 2-3 years too late, and I don't really.
Oh, it's going to be.
I'm just over talking about those two guys.
It reeks of a cash grab.
Yeah, well,
it reeks. I mean, and the funny thing is, Marquez. Look at what Marquez is going to make in terms of guaranteed money versus what Pacquiao is going to make, and you'll see where just about 90% of that ticket money is going to be going. It's going right into Pacquiao's bank account. It's a cash grab.
Pacquiao marks are still going to go fly out there and buy the tickets because they just love watching that guy fight so much.
And Bob Arum loves guys like that. I mean, you look at a guy top rank, and it's in my
Bob
opinion,
Arum is a
my
tool
humble
bag.
opinion. Yeah, it's everything that's wrong with the sport. That's just my some kind of humble opinion.
Could not agree with that more.
Yeah, that's terrible. Gilbert Melendez, he's out versus Pat Healy, man. And for those of you out there didn't get the news, they're actually going to cancel that fight.
Yeah.
It's the second card that Zuffa is going to cancel in I think the same, not even as many months. It's basically the same month and a half.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me with a Strikeforce event because they're so main event oriented, but
right. Very little depth there.
Yeah, it sucks for Pat Healy. Who knows if we'll ever get a chance to fight a top guy like that again. And the problem is there's so much MMA these days that you can't water it down with a card that's just not up to par. Basically, I mean, you can't. Not only was that fight supposed to be, what was it, last night or tonight? I don't even remember. But then you got UFC on Fuel, and then next weekend we got UFC on FX. There's so much MMA out nowadays.
So many.
You can't put on an underperforming card, in my opinion.
But we're talking about apples and oranges here too. I mean, yeah, it was nice enough for Zuffa to compensate the fighters, despite the fact that they're not going to have a place to fight. But canceling a major UFC versus a Strikeforce that they have, once every 2 months. I mean, it's two totally different things.
No,
and you don't have any earners probably earning over $50K on that card. The unfortunate part though is for a guy like Pat Healy. I mean, this was his. He's probably never going to get another shot at a guy like Melendez. So this guy had top of the line camps, nutritionists. Trainers, great. He's going to get his show money, but he has no chance to win any win bonus, any fight of the night. None of that stuff's going to happen.
Can I tell you what? Even with that main event, Gilbert Melendez and Pat Healy, I wasn't really overly excited.
It's
about
irrelevant
it,
because Gilbert Melendez should be in the UFC anyway.
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
I have a hard time disagreeing with you there. Yeah, I think he's ready for the UFC.
I mean, it's a fight that, in my opinion, shouldn't have been happening. I mean, everybody's got a puncher's chance. Everybody can win on any given day, but let's be honest here. I mean, the odds were just a tad lopsided in Gilbert Melendez's favor, were they not?
As well they should be, and yes, they were. So yeah.
You look at Showtime. It's funny because I don't know. I'm starting to wonder. Maybe they shouldn't promote MMA because at the end of the day, I heard this was up to Showtime. It was their decision not to broadcast this fight. They were building that entire card around that main event matchup. And the funny thing is, it's a subscription service anyway, so the ratings aren't. It's a totally different ballgame than say being on cable television, or pay-per-view buys. I mean, I say put it on anyway. I mean, but what do I know? It doesn't cost me a dime to do that.
No, you know what? Putting it on. We're getting.
That was cute, by the way.
Putting it on. Got some behind-the-scenes stuff going on. The people are wondering what's up, but no, I mean they shouldn't have put it on. Nobody would have watched. Nobody. I don't even think that many people.
Shouldn't
were
have put it on.
No.
At all?
No. Why? Who wants to watch a poo-poo card like that?
I do.
I didn't even want to. No, you don't.
I'd watch anything.
Well, you would have recorded and watched it, but maybe Tuesday or Wednesday.
I would have watched.
Okay,
probably sometime during the week.
Eventually, I mean,
maybe next week.
By the way, I don't even know how these rating things work, man. I mean, nobody's ever asked me what I'm watching on a Friday night.
No. I don't really understand the game either. Is it time to go? Is it? We still got 30 seconds. Nope. Well, hey guys, we're gonna come back. We got another break here. Coming up next, we're going to talk about who wants to step in for Daniel Cormier. We got a Twitter segment. Got a whole bunch of great stuff going on, so don't go anywhere. This is ESPN Radio. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Second segment. Hey, real quick, I want to tell you about Psalm 27 Inc. For all your shipping needs, if you live or do business in 92116 or North Island Naval Station, you'll see Psalm 27 Inc.'s fleet of trucks servicing the island and metro San Diego areas. Doing business as FedEx Ground has been great for Psalm 27, and they've seen a lot of new customers as a result of delivering the Purple Promise. If you need anything shipped in the United States or into Canada, visit FedEx.com, and they thank you for your business. Darren.
Nicely done.
Thank you, sir. You got a little little funny story?
Oh, yeah.
Something
It's not
anecdote?
even really. It's not even
there?
really MMA related. But
Fire it off, Marl.
I kind of like. Come on, dude.
I'm kidding.
You got to go there. Marl. Anyway, but I like to get a little personal about things on the show. So those of you that know me well, and I'm sure the majority of the people listening do, know I got a little bit of an addiction to Little Debbie's, right? Like the Little Debbie's little cakes, brownies.
I thought it was Skull.
I do have an addiction to Skull too, and caffeine. But anyway, it's Little Debbie's. So last night I'm watching The Ultimate Fighter, right? And I'm eating my honey bun, because those of you that never see me, I mean, I'm not like a fat dude or nothing like that. I mean, I work out a lot, but I'm sitting there eating my honey bun, and I'm watching The Ultimate Fighter, and that dude. That dude Rivera, I don't know if you watch it, but they're doing the weigh-in. That dude Rivera gets on there, right? And he's got these like pink underwears on. You can see his 8-pack. He's just jacked. And I realized at the same time I'm watching that, it goes back to something Sweats did months ago. But at the same time I'm watching that, I'm not only am I finished my honey bun, but I'm like licking the like glaze and sugar off of the wrapper. And I look up and I see Rivera, and he's just up there jacked, right, with this like.
Did you feel how bad about yourself?
And I was
did you
just
feel?
like, not only that, but it's like 10:30 at night. I'm like, oh man, I'm a mess.
Well, what a swine, man! How disgusting.
Yeah, well, that's how I roll.
I love it, man. That's beautiful.
I got a serious addiction for those honey buns. If anyone wants to send me some.
You know what? It's not out of the realm of possibility. That may actually happen. So stand by. Hey, man. Daniel Cormier. We were talking about it a couple weeks ago. I thought him and the Frank Mir matchup. I was really, really looking forward to that. Of course,
man,
you were going with Mir. Once again, we were split right down the middle. That's never happened before. But now Mir, he's done. At least for this fight he is. And there's a couple guys throwing in their hats. Andrei Arlovsky and Fabricio Werdum. And the irony here is that both of these guys have fought before. Arlovsky wins by decision. However, both of them find themselves in a totally different spot in their careers right about now. I want to ask you, is it crazy to think, it's not crazy to think Arlovsky would throw his hat in the mix, especially after, finally getting a win. But what I want to know is, does he have any merit? Do he have any business asking for that fight? Will he get it, or will they think about Werdum? How's that going to play out?
You know what? No, I was actually. It's funny that this whole thing came up because a couple weeks ago when Mir came out, I was like, I wonder if they'd even entertain the idea of bringing Arlovsky in. But last I checked with him, I think he just signed with World Series of Fighting.
Yeah, so, he's going to fight that, and I think that might have happened like a couple days ago.
Yeah,
right before I wrote the story.
But you know what? No, I don't think anybody would want to see that fight. I mean, we all love Andrei Arlovsky here, but
for sure.
But I think Cormier would have won that easy. As for Werdum, on the other hand,
how do you see that playing out?
I love that matchup, but I mean, do you want to give Daniel Cormier a little bit of run before you let Werdum smash him like that?
Werdum smash him?
Yeah, baby.
You're crazy. Werdum smash him?
I don't know how Daniel Cormier and Chris Weidman all of a sudden just climbed up to the top of the ladder
because they're
I'm not
just
saying
improving leaps and bounds, and they're steamrolling fools,
I agree,
man.
but Fabricio Werdum we're talking about here?
When was the last time you seen Fabricio go 5 rounds? And I'm not taking a poo-poo on Fabricio. I'm a huge fan of his, but I'm just saying, past second round, third round.
You're right. So he's got no business in there with a guy like Daniel Cormier, who's just a household name.
But smash?
Well, that's what I say. I mean,
come on.
It would be a great fight. I would love to see it. They're both top 10 guys, but
will we see it? Are they gonna give Fabricio a call?
I don't think so. I don't think.
Where are they gonna? But Cormier's name is still on the.
I'm starting to wonder if maybe there's so many talks about him going down to 205 in the UFC. Maybe his last fight.
He looks like he could make 205.
Yeah, maybe his last fight, we see him fight somebody at 205. Maybe Stephan Bonner's okay after his trip to Brazil. Maybe Forrest Griffin seems to be the answer to everyone else's problem.
After he gets done healing.
Let's see. I don't know. I can't wait to see what happens, though. I mean, has it been 2 weeks now since we found out Frank Mir's been hurt?
Yeah, no, they've made no announcement. Like I said, Daniel Cormier's name is still on the card, so I mean, it's like they're looking for a replacement. I'm struggling to think of a better replacement right now, just because Fabricio, he's got a ton of run coming into this fight. He needs another top 10 opponent to justify the title shot he needs. I mean, this fight just seems to make sense in my opinion. I'd love to see it.
I actually think Fabricio would be the money favorite in that fight, and I think he wins.
It'd be interesting to see if he's a money favorite. I don't know, and 2 totally different styles of jiu-jitsu, but Josh Barnett, he won Worlds. I mean, he's a credible fighter in the submission world, and Daniel Cormier didn't have any problem staying out of submissions there. I mean, he seems to be intelligent enough to stay out of trouble there. I don't know, man.
I don't know if I'd. Okay, you're right. I mean, you got me, but I don't know if I could. That Josh Barnett performance wasn't top notch.
It wasn't top notch for you. It's not doing anything for you.
No, never really has.
All right.
I know all those junkies, all the underground junkies are not going to like that too much.
Yeah. Oh no.
But
trust me.
Josh Barnett,
back up the truck, baby. You're gonna get some hate mail. Yeah. Hey, real quick, I want to mention another sponsor of ours, RB Cards. Visit rbcardandhobby.com, facebook.com/RB Cards. Check him out. He's always got a bunch of good deals on there. Twitter segment is always one of my favorites. I saw a few people I actually thought were amusing this week. A few things I agreed with. Usually you go through Twitter or the forums and you find a slew of things you hate, and all you want to do is come on here and bash people. I don't feel like that this week. There's a lady named Jennifer Swift. She says it was funny because a lot of these are Monday Night Football references, just given the whole lockout and the referee situation. You sit back and you think about what Dana White says. She says when Dana White saw the end of the Monday Night Football game, he shook his head and said, "Never leave it in the hands of the refs." I was thinking the exact same thing myself. No problem with that. Another person said Chael Sonnen throwing a spinning back fist against Silva is a better call than what he just saw on Monday Night Football. Touche.
I'm glad. Can I rebuttal here?
No, please.
You know what? I mean, love the Twitter segment. I love these people, but get off these refs for crying out loud, man. I mean,
have you ever seen anything quite like that? I mean, like, and I'm not referring to the call. I'm just referring
you want to know what's
the rest
real?
of the world
what's
waiting.
About real is my ESPN streak for the cash got ruined because of that call, and I didn't even care. I'm not waking up all early to call the SAW, Monday morning. Hey, I don't whatever.
It's funny because nobody talks about that call Ed Hockley laid on the Chargers a few years
ago. Thank you. It's happened before, people. The real refs screw up all the time too.
We'll save that one for the sports
junkies.
Save it
for all the other cookie cutter shows we got out here.
Definitely. Kenny Florian, I actually thought this one made a lot of sense because I was thinking the same thing. He was referring to John Jones in the last fight, saying nobody's ever made his home in the octagon, the UFC, more than John Jones. He just allows himself complete and total freedom to flow and create. I totally agree because you look at a guy like John, every single fight, there's no exceptions. They get mesmerized by his style, and it seems like to give a guy like that distance is almost the worst thing you could do. I mean, as soon as he has distance, he has total and he's completely comfortable.
That guy's amazing. Everybody always says you can't give John Jones his distance, but here's what happens to you when you try to close that distance. You get beat up. I mean, he hits you in the face really hard. He kicks you. I mean, it's so easy on the outside to say, oh well, you can't give him his distance and this and that. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
When you fight a guy like that, it's almost pick your poison. You got to pick the lesser two evils. Clearly standing on the outside is not going to do anything for anybody anymore. We know that.
Yeah, no, I mean, the guy's amazing. A lot of the people out there don't like him, but he's an amazing fighter.
No, I completely agree. Another guy, Master Segal from the Sherdog Forum. Anybody named Master Segal, I'm already a little skeptical. Yeah. He says Vitor gave up in the first round, and I'm just when I see guys like that in the forum, obviously everybody, they have come from a different place. I don't know exactly where this guy's coming from, but to say Vitor gave up, I mean,
dude,
what
play
a fantastic,
Go play in traffic. Nobody likes
what
you.
What an amazing fight though that was for Vitor. I mean, what a gutsy performance.
He was getting beat up.
He almost put him away.
Yeah, he did
in the first. I mean, let's not forget about that.
Raising. I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm watching this.
Oh, I was in a bar, and it's like. I swear, it almost felt like you were sitting in the rafters at the MGM. I thought I felt it raining beer somewhere, and people were getting rowdy, and I was like, I thought for sure we were going to see something we'd never seen before.
Yeah, no, it was.
People forget Vitor's got a black belt. Everybody forgets that.
That's true, but man,
we saw it. Crazy, great fight. Chris Lieben. I was a little. This isn't surprising. I was a little sad to see that. He says he's flat out broke right now. Being broke sucks. It's crazy, man, because a guy like Chris Lieben, it's a real bad time to come back into 185. I mean, we were sitting here last week while you were gone talking about potential replacements, and every guy you throw out there, every name you throw out there is on paper looks like they may actually be better than Chris Lieben at this point. I mean, it's just a terrible time to come back to 185.
But I thought he owned some school in Hawaii or something. I mean, I would like to know what exactly his idea of broke is, because my idea of broke
it might be two different things.
It's like you need $30 so that you could have zero in your savings account. That's my idea of broke.
Yeah,
is his idea of broke the same? Or
maybe he's only going to party Friday through Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean,
not the entire week. I'm broke when I can't party the entire week.
My Benz needs tires. Maybe I should wait till after my fight. I mean, what's his idea of broke?
I'm looking to upgrade. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point, man.
But I thought he owned a school in Hawaii. Isn't that like one of the main things he went out there, or is he just coaching?
I thought he trained in Hawaii. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that.
He opened a school out there, but maybe it's not doing too good.
Well, my point is, it's funny because it always seems like Dana White and the UFC find a place for these guys that were somehow on the first season of Tough. I mean, if you look at his two suspensions for almost the same thing, that should be your proof right there. I mean, guy's got more than he's got more than a couple lives here.
Yeah, that's for sure. But he deserves it, man. The guy's always game to fight anybody, man.
I agree.
Love Chris Lieben.
I agree. Coming up next, we'll tell you who wants to fight GSP, who on Tough suffers a knee injury, and we're going to break down a ton of fights, ton more stories, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. ESPN Radio, San Diego. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Show's already half over. Seems like it happens to us every single week. We'll jump into a couple more things from Twitter. want to throw out John Dodson. He says, I didn't know Johnny Bones could cancel a Strikeforce card too. Laugh out loud. It's kind of funny because Dodson's actually a teammate of his, so a little tongue-in-cheek there.
You know, the funny thing, I love John Dodson, and it looks like he wins the next fight. He might be the next, he had me on that tweet, funny, until LOL. I'm like, you're not a schoolgirl,
yeah.
dude. I mean, you're an MMA fighter. Can we drop the LOL?
LMAO.
You know, I mean, come on.
Forum junkies, they're also calling for your boy Fedor to drop down to 205 and fight Jones. Give it up already. It's not going to happen.
Dude,
Fedor's done.
You want to talk about LOL?
Done.
I LOL'd. I cried. I laughed so hard when I saw people saying, John Jones, it doesn't matter what weight. I don't care what weight you bring Fedor in at. John Jones would smash him, dude.
Guys.
Are we kidding?
It's not 2006 anymore. Pride is gone.
Man, I mean, we're
Fedor's
talking about
done. And I'm a Fedor fan, by the way. He's done. It's over.
Yeah, he's done.
Done.
He is done. Let him rest.
Let him rest. Good call. What's funny is, just side note, UFC 152 in Toronto, they had like 16-8, and supposedly Canada is supposed to be the MMA mecca of the entire world. Meanwhile, they comped 6,800 tickets. I thought that was a little interesting.
Yeah, I mean, how do we get our name on that comp list? I didn't realize it was that high.
Here I am going to all these events, paying out of my pocket. What line do I got to stand in to get a comp, for God's sake?
Man. Yeah.
6,800
people.
How many? Are there that many important people that don't need to pay in Toronto?
No, I mean, that's so weird. I don't understand.
Man, that's kind of makes me think twice about it.
I guess I don't really know what the number is on a normal UFC event in the States here. I never really pay attention.
I mean, there's comps, but they're not like that.
I mean, I never really pay attention to stuff
crazy.
like that because, quite frankly, I really don't care. But when I realized the number was so high,
that's
like,
huge.
Jesus, man.
By the way, that was a great card. I mean, it's not like it was, like it was 151 with no main event.
Yeah,
I could see comp in half the, but. Yeah,
even then,
that was an amazing card.
Our main event gets scratched. We don't really know if this card's that good. So here, I'm just going to give away 6,000 tickets. Is that how it works? I mean, how do I get in line for that?
6,000 tickets.
Crazy.
That's insane. Which, by the way, on a side note, it kind of makes you feel like, I'm already having a little trouble paying $200-$300 for a ticket. So, then you always got the who's going to be injured thing, and maybe because you might not get what you paid for. Like you pay for a Son and Silva 2, all of a sudden that fight gets scrapped. They're not giving you a refund.
So you know what? So you drop 200-300 beans on a UFC ticket.
No, that's what they're asking.
And then I'm just saying. So I'm just putting myself in shoes, and then you do. And just, next time you buy your UFC ticket, which I'm sure you will in the future, and then Uncle Dana's going to yell at you for booing. I mean, please boo my co-main event. God.
Yep.
I mean, come on, Dana.
Yeah, I know, man. It's a bit redundant at this point. Hey, before we went to the break, we were talking about who's calling out GSP. I always know this is a favorite time of yours. Anytime you get to smash GSP or walk all over him, I know you love to take the opportunity to do so. But just in case everybody out there didn't hear.
GSP fan, by the way.
Stop. Until he fought BJ Penn and everybody's going for GSP.
It's
okay. You can be honest.
Okay.
Martin Campman, he says GSP should be thanking him. He says he wants a shot at GSP after the fight with Condit. I'm wondering if that's assuming GSP's still the champ, or does he want to fight GSP anyway? I mean, Condit's no walk in the park, by the way. I mean, I love how everybody's looking past that guy.
I know.
That's crazy.
You know what GSP's response should be? Martin who? What?
Right?
I mean, really? Oh, hey, Mr. Catman, hey, it's GSP here. Yeah. Hey, thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's funny because Martin Campman, I guess he feels after a win over Johnny Hendricks justifies a title shot. He says he should have got a title shot a long time ago, and he's owed a thank you for beating all the tough guys in the division.
A long time ago. We're talking about the same inconsistent Martin Campman, right?
Yeah,
okay.
He's putting together a streak now, but I mean, like a long time ago. I mean, I guess he's one of those guys like Michael Bisping that thinks you get a title shot based on tenure.
Didn't Diego beat Martin Campman? And Paul Daly? I think Paul Daly knocked him out. Yes.
Possibly.
Yes, Paul Daly knocked him out.
Possibly. And Jake Shields?
Back in the day.
Jake Shields has a win, although I thought Campman should have won that fight.
Well, he didn't. But you know what, Mark Campman, I'm not trying to sit here and pee on the guy here, but
it's crazy.
I mean, not only is GSP already got a fight, you already got a fight. GSP's next opponent, assuming he wins, has already been lined up for him pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think he's trying to pull a page out of Sonen's book.
Yeah, I think everybody
run his gums a little bit. It seems to work for one guy. Why not?
Chael Sonnen's really good at it.
Yeah,
Martin Campman's not that good at it.
Excellent point. And I was also going to say, shouldn't Martin Campman worry about Johnny Hendricks and that left hook?
Johnny Hendricks is going to win that fight.
Yeah, that guy's no joke. I mean, you talk about a guy that should be arguably number one contender. I mean, Johnny Hendricks is one fantastic way to win from being just that.
Definitely.
Also, I mean, look at Bisping. He's talking about Sil. I mean, I always love guys that are talking title and they're not there yet. I mean, you can't look past the guy in front of you. I mean, you've seen it time and time again. Ask Nate. Tongue-tied today. Ask Nate Marquardt what worrying about the title did for him. Where's he at? He's fighting a Strikeforce, although he did look fantastic
his last fight. He's coming off his best performance of his career, in my opinion.
You can't take that away from him. But he wasn't talking title, though, was it?
He's getting his fight week. He's getting his feet wet back with the UFC. I don't know if you noticed him coaching on The Ultimate Fighter, but
right, no, I did, and I'm happy to see that.
Team TRT over there in the yellow.
Team TRT.
Him and Carwin and
that's a good point.
But Nate Marquardt. I'm pretty sure I sat here on this very table and picked Nate Marquardt to look fantastic in that fight.
Did you?
I did. But
I'd like to check the tape on that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, is defending against 7 straight number 1 contenders, is that not tough? Those aren't tough guys in the division? I'm just asking.
You know what? You bring up a good point, but
those aren't tough guys.
They are tough guys. I got to give you that. Let me tell you something. You know what? If anyone wants to call in, 619-387-3452. Right here. If anyone's watching on PFPsports.com, I got a UFC hat right here that I will give to the first person that could call that number and tell me last person GSP finished.
Stop the press. Let me put down my weights, man. You're giving away a hat?
A hat.
Oh, my God.
Beautiful UFC officially licensed hat with a little octagon sticker on the back.
And I'm glad you said the last guy GSP finished because...
Well, I mean, he's the... I love GSP, but I mean, we could sit here and talk about his.
Look at the guys he's
fought.
Who else has finished those guys? I'm just curious.
Stop it, dude. That's such a weak argument. That is such a weak argument.
Matt
He's
Hughes.
supposed to be the best in that weight class.
Okay, some people have finished him. Matt Serra, who's put that guy away?
Such a weak argument.
John Fitch. Okay, Johnny Hendricks did.
Weak argument. All these guys have lost at some point in their career been finished. It's a weak argument saying, well, who is finishing these guys? He's the best. He should be finishing these guys. He's the best in the world.
Nobody's finishing those number 1 contenders.
But it's a weak argument.
Weak argument.
It is a weak argument.
A weak argument only if you don't have anything to say about it.
Well, how can I mean, he should be the guy finishing these guys. He's the best in the world. I'm not saying he needs to finish every single fight he's in, but make an attempt to finish a couple of them, please.
Some guys have to come fight to actually. When some guys are playing safe and you're playing not to lose.
When the guy's surfing on you, when you're on your back and the guy. It's really hard to fight when
if you're on the bottom and you're not and you're playing not to lose and you're not giving anything up, just trying to make it out. I'm not saying that's always the case. I'm just saying, who else is finishing these guys? I'm waiting.
Nobody.
I'm waiting.
I agree with you there, but it's just I just don't like that argument. I'm sorry.
Okay.
He is supposed to be best in that weight class, top 2 or 3 pound for pound guys. He should be finishing these guys.
Okay.
At least one of them. At least a couple of them.
All right, I'll give you that. Shane Carwin suffers minor knee injury, but he says he's going to still fight Roy Nelson at a TUF 16 finale. It's kind of crazy, man, because Shane Carwin, this knee problem is going to actually make it so he can't go to the UK this weekend. So it's obviously severe enough to where he can't travel. It's going to require some rehab. But he says he can make December 15th, but by then he will have been out of action for almost 18 months. I mean, do you think that might be a little bit of a problem for him? If you're a Shane Carwin fan, should you be worried because of a knee injury, inactivity, ring rust? Talk about it here every week.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, yes, I think that should worry you. I mean, but at the same time, I don't think there's any secret how that fight's going to go down. You know, I think he's going to throw bombs at Roy Nelson and hopefully put him away. But you know, I'm not sure how much this will affect the fight or not. I mean, obviously, anytime a guy you're pulling for has any nagging injury, all these guys have nagging injuries, by the way.
For sure.
But I mean, this one got out to the press, and it's obviously hurt him to the point where he can't do his press stuff in the UK or whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be concerned.
He's a heavyweight too. I mean, it's not just being a heavyweight that I don't think he has to cut down to 265 anymore because I guess he's eating better, and we saw that in his fight versus Dos Santos. He won all 3, but I can't help but to think just being a naturally bigger guy is just going to make it that much harder for him.
Yeah, and you know what? When you're walking around at 265 plus pounds, your knee. I mean, just doing stuff like going on your 2-3 mile run is harder on your knees than it is when you're 155 pounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
it just seems like physics, But
at the end of the day, I don't think this is going to affect the fight that much.
Not going to affect the fight that much?
I hope not. Let's hope not.
No, I really hope not.
I said the same thing about Jose Aldo, and look where that got me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows?
Hey, speaking of the card that happened, I just wanted to ask you a couple questions. Vinny Magalhaes, I was kind of big on this guy coming up. Of course, he's a Renzo Gracie black belt. Second degree. So this was his second tenure on the show. I guess he had who did he lose to? Was it Ryan Bader in one of the TUF season finales? I can't remember. I lose count of the number, but it was Ryan Bader. That's the important thing to know. He ends up losing to Ryan Bader. He finally gets a chance. He puts together a string of wins, comes back, wins by submission. Do you think he might have deserved submission of the night over John Jones?
Yes, I do think he deserved submission of the night.
I was thinking the same thing, only because if you watch, you can't take anything away from either fight, but if you look at Mago Hayes, I thought he was dangerously close to gassing out, and something like that wasn't going to be possible. It goes another round.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a desperation go for broke, but it was quick.
No,
quick.
he was man. The funny thing about that is everybody talked about his dynamite jiu-jitsu, and in a real quick flash there, he put it on display in the fight. That was an exciting finish.
Yeah, real brilliant transitions, and I can't wait to see more from this guy. I'm actually a fan of his and his style of jiu-jitsu. I was also watching. It was crazy the other night. I was watching this documentary about the Klitschko's. It was shot like a movie. Like it was like a 24/7 boxing program, but it was like it kind of chronicled their entire career. And it was funny because I don't know if you knew this. They actually the explosion at Chernobyl. They actually grew up in the Ukraine, and they were playing in like toxic water. It's a real fascinating story. But I was watching, and it follows all of his fights. And I was thinking to myself, man, the Klitschko's they get almost no run. And part of it's because the era was, it wasn't the 70s, the 80s, and the heavyweight division of boxing. I mean, this is right around the time where, mixed martial arts is blowing up, and I just don't feel like they got the run they deserve, And I was watching this fight, Vladimir Klitschko and Sam Peter, and I was thinking to myself, I put this on Twitter segment because this is me. I figured, you know what, let me put one of my own quotes on there, and I started thinking, if anybody saw Klitschko and Sam Peter, I don't know how you could think that the Klitschko's don't deserve any run. I mean, what an amazing fight.
Well, I think when you say not getting any run, I think you mean here in the States, because I think if you were to look globally,
that's true.
They're certainly
they're doing
run.
Pretty well over in Europe.
Here in the States, but he's not.
That's where all the money is.
But he's not an American.
It's true.
For one, and he I'm not even sure. I mean, he never fights over here. I don't want to say he never has.
Not anymore. I mean, it's mostly in Germany.
Because the draws just aren't that big over here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'd be one thing if he was an American-born fighter and he wasn't getting the run over here.
Do you think part of that has to do with just the state of affairs in boxing and just promoting it? I mean, I don't care what sport you're promoting. Promoting is a real tough business. It's dirty in a lot of ways. Look at who's promoting over here. The Bob Arams, the Lou DiBellas. I mean, I hate to call out a laundry list of promoters here, but I mean, let's face it, none of them they're not exactly Boy Scouts over here, I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, no, they're not. But it's too bad for him.
It's unfortunate.
The Klitschko's are exciting fighters. They've been the best heavyweights for a while.
Yeah.
But
unfortunate.
There's just really no big name guys for him out there to fight.
I think they're about as big as you could possibly be in the heavyweight division this point in time.
For sure.
Coming up next, we got our last segment coming up. We're going to break down all the fights here. It's actually going on today at 1 o'clock. That's live over in the UK.
Love that. Love it.
Break it down. Take it to the book. This is ESPN Radio. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We got a caller on line 1. She wants to answer Darren's question. Caller, you're on the air. Go for it. Do we have a caller?
Popper from Santee, you're on the air.
You had a question about the last person that GSP knocked out, and I was thinking that possibly he knocked out BJ Penn. Is that correct?
Hit refresh.
He smacked him around pretty good, but he did not knock him out.
But he finished. I didn't say knock him out. I said finish. I said the last person he finished.
You said finish?
Did he finish him?
He did finish him. Congratulations to that is Pill Popper out in Santee. We will send you that hat. Thank you very much. Just stay on the line. We'll get all your info and send that hat out to you.
And by the way, that fight was actually the quickest I've ever seen anybody jump on a bandwagon and jump off. Darren and the BJ Penn bandwagon.
I love BJ Penn.
Let's talk about some fights here. Got a big card coming up, UFC on Fuel 5. It's actually going on in the UK. You guys on Justin TV.
Well, it's a card.
It's a nice card.
Yeah, it's a nice.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a nice little. I don't know if I'll
keep you
have time.
busy.
It's a nice little Saturday.
It'll keep you busy. Check it out, 1 o'clock. I love the fact that it's on at 1. You can watch it whenever I want. You don't have to stay off the internet. It's beautiful.
That's great.
John Hathaway, 16-1 versus John McGuire. Man, got a real good matchup here. Hathaway, 16-1. He's never been put away. He fights countryman John McGuire. He's a high-level brown belt who can submit you anywhere. I think McGuire's got to get this to the ground. I don't think he can trade or stand and trade with Hathaway, rather. I think Hathaway's dangerous in the clinch, and I think he's going to win this anywhere. I believe he will. My pick is John Hathaway. Do you have it any different?
No, I got to go with you. Hathaway, I got him winning a unanimous decision. Let's be real here. Like John Hathaway, he could be a bit of a boring fighter. I'm calling this one nacho time. I said it earlier. If you're looking for a fight, if you're looking for a fight to go make your nachos, real quick. I mean, we're just skipping over Shea Mills and Bane Ludwig. I mean, that's
a fantastic fight.
I love that fight. I love Shea Mills in that fight.
I'm pulling for Bang big time.
I think Shea Mills wins via KO. There again, we're split right down the middle, baby. Both guys coming off a loss. I think Shea Mills is coming off a loss against a little better opponent. It's hard, Dan Hardy, Rory Mack. Anyway, I just wanted to get that fight in there. But
I think that's an excellent point. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, I'm pulling for Bang. For me, I always go with the guys that have been around longer. That's just how I roll.
I love Shea Mills for some reason.
He's a great fighter.
Man. I think he's gonna win via KO. For the record, I had John Hathaway win a decision. If I didn't say that,
I like Hathaway in the decision.
I think he's gonna take him down and. But I'm not trying to insinuate that all ground fights are boring. I'm just saying.
No,
I think this one has the potential to be nacho time. It's just not the
best matchup on. I gotcha. No, I like Bang. The last couple fights, his camp is always quick to point out, hey, he's not just a guy that's going to stand and bang anymore. This guy's got credible, legit ground skills. So, I mean, he's a well-rounded fighter. He's coming off a little losing streak. I think he's a little better than what that record indicates the last few fights.
I would agree with that.
I look for him to bounce back. But once again, a lot of questions. We're going to see them all answered. That's why we love the game.
Yeah.
Coming up, we got Paul Sass, 13-0 versus handsome Matt Wyman.
Love yourself some Paul Sass, too.
Paul Sass is
I wonder who you're picking on this
legit. 24-year-old Sass. It's funny because he's 13-0, 9 wins by triangle. He's coming off a Matt Wyman's coming off a controversial loss to Dennis Seaver, and he pulled a little Forrest Griffin there at the end. I think he stormed out of the octagon and took his ball and went home. But
yeah, he did.
Real tough test in Paul Sass, man. I think Wyman, he's a great fighter. He's well-rounded. The guy's a gamer. He's got a great chin, good hands. I think Paul Sass is jiu-jitsu. Which is funny because he's only a purple belt. When we see a guy win by triangle that many times, you'd assume he's a high-level black belt. Only a purple belt. For some reason, some people just see some move and they just, they set it up real well, and I think that's what's going to happen. Weeman's going to make a mistake. He's going to get caught. That's the way it's going down. Paul Sass.
So tonight,
a couple hours.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say.
A couple hours.
So in a couple hours, Paul Sass is the guy that's going to do what nobody's been able to do and submit Matt Wyman. I'm not really sure on this. I like Matt Wyman in this fight. I think Matt Wyman's good enough on the ground to not get sloppy and get caught in a submission. Paul Sass, no question, is legit on the ground. But I like Wyman in this fight. I don't know why.
You know what?
Matt Wyman. Handsome Matt Wyman.
I can't take anything away from you. I mean, he's a great fighter. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see him win. But, I mean, guy's 13-0. He's fighting in his hometown. Got to go with the chalk on this one.
Yeah.
Brad Pickett, Yves Jaboy. Bet you didn't think it was Jaboy, did you?
I didn't.
Coming out of TriStar, how could you not know that? Huge win for everybody's huge on Jaboy from TriStar. He's fighting a guy out of American Top Team and Brad Pickett. Jaboy, he's a real explosive, amazing skilled fighter. He's coming off a little win streak. Brad Pickett's lost to Hennon Brown. He's beat Damasio Page. I think he's a credible guy. For my money here, I've got to go with Brad Pickett. I think he's just got a little bit too much experience. He's got a slight edge there for me. However, it wouldn't surprise me to see Jaboy win by knockout. That wouldn't surprise me either. I think this is a pick'em fight, as close to pick'em as you can get.
It is really close, but again, Brad Pickett's been in there and fought much tougher competition in my opinion.
Right.
Ivan Minjar, you mentioned Henan Barrow,
There's
Scott Jorgensen.
Scott Jorgensen, all tough guys.
He's fought a legit list of people. I like Brad Pickett to win, and I'm not just going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, how I like him to win. I think he's going to win rear naked choke.
Brad Pickett,
rear naked choke.
Interesting. There's a slew of rear nakeds down Wikipedia. Is that where you were looking?
What?
Wikipedia? If you look at his record, rear naked.
He loves a choke. Yeah, no. I love it. Come on, dude.
I love this fight, Brad Pickett. Don't put your money on it though. Pick a fight, stay away from it.
I wouldn't.
Stay away from it.
Touch that with anybody's money.
I actually love this co-main event. Great for the hometown people. Amir Sadallah, Dan Hardy. I love. Big fan of Amir Sadallah.
Yeah.
Incredibly technical.
My homie, by the way.
That's your boy.
Yeah.
From way back, man.
Yep.
He's had some mixed success as of late. He's had to deal with some injuries, some weight cut issues. Hardy's a hometown guy coming off a huge win. The same Bang Ludwig who beat Amir Sadallah. I think Hardy's got some heavy hands. I think he can find his spots. I like Hardy just at the hometown. I mean, again, I may you may misconstrue that as going with chalk, but I think he just came off a big win. I think he's going to find a home for that left hook. It's eventually going to slow down Mir Sadallah. I see that's just the way it's going to go. I'm going with Dan Hardy in this one.
You know, I can't disagree with you. We bring it up a few times on the show, and so much is talked about Dan Hardy's 4-fight losing streak in the UFC. And let me just run those names by you. He lost to GSP.
Right.
No shame in that. Lost to Carlos Condit.
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, no shame in that. He lost in Anthony Rumble Johnson, who you could talk about all he wants. That dude is a UFC talent. He has weight issues. He's a UFC talent.
And he's about 30 pounds heavier than Dan Hardy.
He struggles making weight, but he's a beast. That guy is a beast. Absolutely. And you could just tell by what he's done outside of the organization.
Absolutely.
And then Chris Lytle. Okay, he probably should be Chris Lytle, but I'm just saying it's not like he's losing the guys.
I disagree. Chris Lytle's a
stud. Love Chris Lytle,
yeah.
But if you want to be relevant in a weight class, you got to be guys like Chris Lytle.
Just think of those 4 names you name off. Just think about the experience and in the record alone.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Those guys.
I mean, so many people are just, I can't believe. We've even said it. Why the UFC keeps this guy around. He's lost 4 in a row. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, man, those are 4 pretty legit dudes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like just anybody's in there smashing this guy up. With that being said, I love Dan Hardy in this fight. Big Mir Sadallah fan, but I think Dan Hardy's going to win KO. As much as I love Mir Sadallah, the guy has just been too inconsistent in his UFC career, and I think Dan Hardy, I think he's going to win.
Especially as of late, I like that pick too.
Yeah.
Takes us to the main event: Stefan Struve, Stipe Miocic. I've been huge on Miocic all year. He's been my horse to go all the way. I like a Division I wrestler with Golden Glove hands. I think it's just a brilliant combination. Struve, he's dangerous. He's got dangerous guard. I mean, he's got incredibly long legs. For me, he's been a little inconsistent. Just the whole fighting tall thing. Sometimes he'll like to stand and bang. Sometimes a guy will close the distance. I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot for me when it comes to Stefan Struve. That said, I think Miocic, he's just been my pick since the beginning of the year. I like his chances. He'll close the distance. He's going to find a home somewhere for that right hand, and I believe that's the way it's going to go down.
Yeah,
Stipe,
we're running out of time, so I'll make this quick. Stefan Struve, very solid, very quick. Good jiu-jitsu and transitions for a guy that's 7 feet tall. And he keeps saying this is a big step up in competition for Miocic. It is. It definitely is. But let me tell you, Struve, it's a bit of a step. I mean, this guy is a monster. I like Miocic in this fight.
Yeah.
KO.
Yeah, I like both of these guys. It's a big step up for both guys.
It is,
really.
Yeah. And it's great. I would not be surprised if within the next year or so we see Miocic fighting for a title, or at least throwing his name in there.
Wouldn't surprise me either. That takes us to the final. My favorite segment, Take It to the Book. Went 4-1 last week on a 5-legger. I know that doesn't do anything on a 5-legger, but 4-1 is 4-1.
4-1. Might as well have gone 0 for 5.
4-1 is 4-1. And I will do at least one pick better than you this week. Stipe Miocic, Dan Hardy, Paul Sass, John Hathaway. That is my 4-legger. Yes, they're all favorites. Paul Sass is about as close to a pick 'em as you can get. That pays out about 4-1.
I got Shea Mills, minus 195, Dan Hardy, a minus 200, and Stipe Miocic, minus 190. And if you're feeling froggy, you Aztec fans out there, go ahead and pick the over because their defense sucks. So that's all I got.
Beautiful. Check us out, Pound for Pound Sports on Facebook, at Nick PFP Sports.
I'm at Darren PFP Sports.
Praise be to the Most High. That ain't no lie. Catch you guys next time. Peace.
Cheers.